love you too. I traveled here today to share our message of equality with all Americans. A message of love over hate, of acceptance over condemnation, and of unity over division. Like so many of us here today, I grew up being told that I was less than, waking up each morning with fear in my heart, knowing that each day was as bleak as yesterday and that hope was simply delayed disappointment. And sadly today, for so many of the young people out there that live in areas that still deny them their civil rights, that deny them protections, and that show no promise for change, and we all know it would be immoral to leave a single one of those young people behind. So marching here today in the footsteps of so many who have spread freedom, I'm reminded that we must look to our history if we are to achieve our future. We must remember that it was the decision of the federal courts to legalize interracial marriage. It was the decision of a president to abolish slavery, and it was the decision of another president to abolish segregation in the armed forces. If any of these things had been left to individual states, none of them would have happened. And yes, we must continue our state-by-state work, but if that's all we do, what are we left with? A checkerboard nation where some areas are free and some areas are not free. And that is not why Harvey Milk gave his life for this movement 30 years ago. That is not why you have traveled here from every corner of this nation. We did not come here to demand our partial equality. We did not come here to leave some of our brothers and sisters behind. Because now is the time. Now is the time for the LGBT movement to follow in the footsteps of every successful civil rights movement in this great nation's history, and to finally, at last, name our dream. And our dream sounds like this. We, the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people of America, demand that the promise of our Constitution and Declaration of Independence be honored. We demand that the federal government act immediately, decisively, and unequivocally to assure equal protection under the law for LGBT people throughout the United States of America. Full and equal federal rights. That is our promised land. And to those who say, wait, I say we can no longer wait to be treated equally under the Constitution while our lives are going by. We cannot wait for one more child to take his or her own life or to have it brutally taken from them. Now is the time, because it is our obligation here today to send a message to the young people out there that we are fighting for their full equality from sea to sea, not partial equality in one area over another, and not equality in some distant future. But as we commit ourselves to this noble endeavor, I ask that we first look into our own hearts. Because if we are to achieve our rightful freedom, we must first free ourselves. We must free ourselves of generations of hate and shame. We must free ourselves of the lies and myths and distortions that have been thrust upon us our entire lives. We must know in our hearts that we are loved by God, that we are full and equal citizens, and that we have every right to demand the honor and dignity afforded every other citizen and every other citizen's love in the United States of America. We are here today to tell the world that the love in our heart is beautiful, it is true, and it is strong. And now we must share that love. We must lift it up as a shining example of what is good, and we must never let ourselves be shamed for that love again. That day is gone. That darkness has passed. And with strength in our hearts, we must now return to our hometowns, to San Antonio, Texas, to Holland, Michigan, to Portland, Oregon, to every hometown, to every metropolis, every city, and every county. And we must share our dream of full federal equality, and not only with our friends and family, but also with those who we fear might not embrace us. In every district in this nation, we must share our dream with every federal representative, with every citizen, and once and for all dispel the myths and the lies and the distortions that have plagued this nation and plagued our people for generations. Because if we want our freedom, we must be strong enough to fight for it. We must be strong enough to lay our bodies on the line when necessary and to make our voices heard. And standing here before you today, it is clear than ever that we have that will. And for the first time in my life, I no longer feel any fear, and I no longer feel any shame, and there is no longer any doubt in my heart. There is no longer any doubt in my heart that in our lifetimes, our dream will be reality and we will be free.
Please welcome Bruce Dustin.